Why pay regular price when you can save money on every purchase with WagerBucks at both WagerTalk and Sports Memo? WagerBucks are now eligible for use on not just daily, 3-day, and 7-day passes, but all long-term and seasonal packages up to 1 full year. There are tons of options available for every budget and size of better, from as low as $90 gets $100, all the way up to $3,500 gets you $5,000. Save every day on every pick you buy with WagerBucks.
Welcome, everybody, to Wager Talk Today. It is September 6th. It is Monday. Happy Labor Day to everybody. Teddy covers with me. I'm Lawrence Pressman. We got Marco D'Angelo to start the show. He's going to talk about the Thursday night NFL game, Dallas at Tampa Bay. We're going to look at the Philadelphia Phillies, Milwaukee Brewer game, and Iowa versus Iowa State. Bryan Leonard at the bottom talking Kansas City, playing Cleveland, the UAB college football game, and the Toledo college football game. Teddy, last Monday I came on and said I didn't lose a game last weekend. This Monday I come on and say almost didn't win one. Oh, I had a dreadful start. Dreadful start in college football. But we got a long season ahead of us, and the climb begins. How did you do, bro?
Oh, we won. Week one in college football usually pretty good for my clients and I. I'm sorry you had a rough weekend, Prez, but I didn't. So no complaints in that regard on a Monday. Of course, when Prez was talking about the Toledo game that Bryan Leonard's going to talk about, what he meant was the Notre Dame game that Bryan Leonard's going to be talking about. Notre Dame taking on Toledo this week, and that's the marquee team involved in that attraction. But it was a good weekend overall. 3 out of 4 in college football. We won an MLB again yesterday, so no complaints, Prez.
Nice, dude. I passed in baseball, but I did win that Jay game on Friday night. My God, Teddy, 8-2 in the 8th. Jays tied it up, then down 10-2, 10-8. And then a walk-off 3-run homer for what probably was the most exciting game of the year. What did you learn this past weekend in the wonderful world of sports betting?
Oh, it's not what did you learn time. It's September.
It's bad.
That means It's time for bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the books. A recap of what just happened over the course of the last weekend. We got to start with bad beats. There were some doozies this past weekend. Let's start with Wake Forest. Minus 31 at the O, bet up to minus 32.5. They lead that game 42-3. It's complete and utter domination. And what happens? The 8th stringers come on for the final drive, give up a TD, and they only win by 32. Minus 32.5, no good with the Demon Deacons. But Louisiana Monroe, plus 31, and the total's 54. They're covering the whole game. It's going to stay under. And then they're down 38-7 late. And they kick a field goal. Down 38-7 late. And then, of course, Kentucky has time for one last possession. They just need a first down or two and then take a knee. No knee for Kentucky. They punch it in, up 38-10 with less than a minute left, throwing goal line passes. ULM and under turns into Kentucky and over. Speaking of no knees, how about Rice? That might have been the worst beat of the weekend. Rice plus 20 at Arkansas. Rice leads the game at halftime. The game's tied after 3, your 20-point dog. They lose by 21. Again, no knee for Arkansas, up 14 with a minute left. They punch in that touchdown to cover the spread. I talk about the coaches not taking knees to cover. That's one of those things you file away in the back of your mind. They'll do it again. They do it once, they'll do it again. A&M minus 29.5 against Kent. Texas A&M up 13-3 midway through the third. It is a sleepy game. They have no chance to cover. Kent's in the red zone, about to make it 13-10, but oops. An 85-yard pick six and then a 63-yard touchdown run. The next drive, Texas A&M ends up winning by 31. Kent was a right side, wrong result. That, a bad beat. When it comes for bad bets, the bettors got it wrong with Louisiana Lafayette. Texas was the better squad in that game. Big, sharp move on Houston. That was right for a half. It was real wrong the second half. Texas Tech run out after the break. They win and cover. San Jose USC, the total steamed up. 30-7 final defensive scrum. Oregon State Purdue total gets steamed up. Rainy day. Felt like a fall day in West Lafayette. 30-21 final, over, never had a chance. And Georgia Tech money, they got bet up to -19. They lost outright to Northern Illinois. The 2-point conversion at the end. The most important play in football. Yellow Jackets, bad bets if you bet on them. When I talk about bad for books, there was a bunch this past weekend. And I'm just going to run it right down. All Kansas State money versus Stanford, right side. All Texas San Antonio money against Illinois, right side. All Louisiana Tech money at Mississippi State, right side. All under money, Wisconsin Penn State, right side. All Alabama money, right side. All the sharp money on Georgia, right again. All the sharp money on UCLA against LSU, right again. And of course, I guess I don't know if I want to call it a bad beat or a bad bet or a bad for the books. The bottom line is there was sharp money on BYU all summer, all game week, all game day. Cougs dominated early. We're in a slugfest late. Arizona got the money in that one. There's your bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the books. Boy, that was fun, Prez. Back to you, Mike.
I enjoyed listening to the whole thing. I mean, did you practice that? I mean, it was just so seamless.
I've been waiting. I mean, again, we stopped doing that at the end, I think, of March Madness. You can't do it all baseball season. During football season, every Monday, we'll do a bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the books to give you a good recap of what just happened. But no, I didn't practice that. I've been waiting all summer to do it. It was built up inside.
Well, excellent work. You did skip the Blue Jay game on Friday night, but that's okay.
I didn't look at baseball. I looked at football.
Marco D'Angelo joining us, and Marco, right off the bat, Jonathan Nowajowski, one of our viewers who happen to listen, writes, got multiple CFB winners from the WagerTalk show last week. Bet on it's begun.
It has begun. 3-0 sweep on the best bets with Kelly, VR, and myself. So can't complain about that. Big weekend for me. College football, we went 3-1. Baseball continued to roll. Went 2-0 with the baseball. And rolling along. Got another baseball play up today, and looking forward to keep things going. It's don't forget about baseball. I know it's center stage for football right now, but Saturday, my biggest play was a 5% in baseball, 4-0 winner. And money's money. Doesn't matter if it's baseball or football. It all cashes the same.
Oh, I agree 100% on that one, brother. Well, let's get straight into it, Marco. Dallas playing Tampa Bay, a first game of the season, -7.5 with Tampa Bay. Look, man, both teams coming in, both teams with high expectations. Dallas coming in somewhat healthy. Really curious how we should bet this one. Where are you going?
Well, let's start with, the stuff that everybody realizes, Dak Prescott coming back, just a horrible injury last year, didn't get any action in the preseason. So the question mark's going to be, how ready is he going to be? The other narrative in this game is, of course, Tampa Bay's the defending Super Bowl champs. That's why we're opening up the season on a Thursday night in Tampa to celebrate that. With that said, I'll say right off the top, the line is high. 7.5 is probably too high for this game. And Vegas knows, the bookmakers know, the public's going to bet Tom Brady, and they should. Does that mean I want to run and take Dallas because of it? No, I can't. And we've seen this before. Tom Brady's always overpriced. All those years at New England, how many, every Sunday, leading up to game time, Teddy will tell you, all the sharps are trying to step in front of New England and Brady and grab the inflated points. And it never worked out well. Last year here at Tampa, the 8 home games, 6-2 against the spread. And they were overpriced in most of those games last year as well. But that doesn't mean I'll get to the window with them. What I will get to the window with is I feel there's tremendous value in this game using a teaser. And it's the only time that I, really advocate in football doing any exotic wagers. Teasers are plus EV for sharp players. And by sharp players, I mean you're doing them properly. You're not taking a small dog and making them making a small favorite a small dog. You don't do things like that. But teasing this one, it's 7.5. Use a 6-point teaser, get it down to 1.5. We just have to get Tampa to win the game. Ways I would attack this game, obviously, is the teaser. The question mark with Dak Prescott, I might look at the under in the first half. I think it's going to be a competitive game early on. I don't think Dallas is going to take a lot of chances early, and there's got to be some rust with Prescott. So if you want to find something to wager other than the teaser, I would take a look at the under first half in this game as a possible play.
So I want to ask you, Marco, the big news over the weekend for Dallas is that their Pro Bowl guard, Zach Martin, expected to be out for this one. He dealing with COVID. And once again, we have another football season where we're going to have COVID absences and COVID outings and potentially COVID cancellations at the last minute. Hope we don't get too many of those. But with Zach Martin in particular, given that Dallas hasn't played their starters at all in the preseason, given that Dak hasn't been back, and given that Zach Martin isn't going to play, and he's as good as anyone they have on that offensive line, you're telling me that Tampa's priced too high, and all they did was cover point spreads last year. And you said that Brady was priced, was no value with Brady, and yet all he did was cover point spreads for 20 years in New England. Is this just a spot where you just lay it with Tampa and expect them to smack them down?
Teddy, I can't argue anything you're saying because we've seen that for Tom Brady's entire career. But and I know we look for value, in the numbers and power ratings really don't say that this should be that big of a number, in my opinion, especially first game of the season. But with everything that you said about, the offensive line and that again goes to the total, where I think that they're going to have, some trouble moving the football. Now, the problem with Dallas, when they don't hold on to the football offensively for time of possession, it puts that defense on the field too long. And we've seen the problems with Dallas in that defense in the past couple years. Until they get that shored up, that's always a concern involving the totals. But I think you're going to see a more conservative game plan from McCarthy early on. Doesn't want to get Dak, hurt. Again, when you're missing offensive linemen, you got to be careful on the pass plays. You don't want to get in third and longs where you're exposing him to get injured with blitz packages coming at him. So, again, conservative first game. I think the two plays are teaser and under first half. That's the only way that I can look at the game.
Yeah, but I'm having too much fun cross-examining you.
I know you are.
I got to ask you one more question. I know, it's great. But you said something that stood out to me. You're like, the power ratings and the hard numbers don't show that that Tampa should be favored this high. My power rating says Tampa's a 10-point favorite in this game. And I don't think I'm alone in that regard. And that's why this line has moved up and not down. Don't you think the hard numbers are showing at least some support for Tampa at even more than a touchdown?
True power ratings. And again, let me ask you this, Teddy. When you set your power rating, are you setting that with a healthy Dak or a rusty Dak? Because that's the question mark in the game. What are we going to get from Dak after the injury and not seeing the time? That's where I have the problems of setting the numbers. If Dak is back to where he's at, I don't think that the power rating should be 10 points in this game. But we don't know that because we haven't seen any of him.
Marco D'Angelo, there you go. Teddy, you want to keep cross-examining him? You want to argue with him?
No, he said something that intrigued me, and I wanted to hear his thought process on it. If he says something that intrigues me in this next game, I'll ask him and follow up on that one as well.
There you go. Marco, next game, Philadelphia Phillies playing Milwaukee. Really great pitching matchup. Wheeler versus Woodruff. Total of 7 on the board. This game starts at 2:00 Eastern time. How are you betting it?
Well, I'm going to look at this game, and guys, both teams are Milwaukee, obviously the leader in their division, in Philadelphia trying to catch the Braves. Both teams are playing well. You got Philadelphia on a 7-2 run. You've got Milwaukee on a 6-2 run. But guys, if you dig deeper into the numbers, they're very misleading streaks, because look at what Philadelphia has done. That 7-2 came against Arizona, who's 45-93, Washington, that's 56-80, and Miami, that's 57-80, where Milwaukee just finished. One of their wins was against Minnesota. Okay, bad team. But the other 7 games in that stretch were 4 against San Francisco, one of the best teams in baseball, 87-50, and 3 against St. Louis, above 500 team at 69-66. So clear edge to Milwaukee. And you talk about the pitching matchup in this one. Wheeler is kind of an enigma. He's going to give you a ton of innings. This is a guy that will go into the 7th inning on a regular basis, whether it's by design or absolute fear of asking for anybody to come out of the Philadelphia bullpen after him. Because if you look at the games, Wheeler's giving up 4, 5, 6 runs a game. Normally, you're not leaving pitchers in there for that amount of time when they're giving up those kind of run numbers. But again, they feel better with a Wheeler still in than bringing anybody in that bullpen. But I am going first 5 in this one rather than full game, just because Milwaukee's had some close games over the weekend where they did had to use some people. I like Milwaukee first 5. I don't have a problem with them full game if you want to split this up both ways. But I'm looking at Woodruff, and you talk about a guy pitching good baseball, especially at home. Last 2 starts for Woodruff, just 1 run allowed in 12 innings of work. And you look at the season numbers, in 12 home starts, he's got an ERA of 2.08 in Milwaukee. This is a day game. They play exceptionally well in day games. This season, 38-18 in day games. I'll go ahead and take Milwaukee first 5 innings. I like the matchup, Woodruff over Wheeler.
So I want to ask you one question about Woodruff, because now we're getting into one of these, I call it danger territory, where not only has a pitcher thrown more innings than he's ever thrown in his career, but he's thrown way more innings than he's ever thrown in his career, and now it's September. Woodruff with a career high in innings by, 36 already, and obviously he hasn't gone down the stretch yet. Do we worry at all about him wearing down after eating up innings all season long?
Absolutely, Teddy. That's something that you got to watch with these pitchers. And Wheeler's a guy that's got a lot of innings this year too. But look at the current form. And the current form indicates that Woodruff's not regressing in any way. His last 2 starts, as I said, 12 innings, only 1 run allowed. The other part of it is the strikeout to walk ratio in those 2 games, 18-3. Yeah, I'm old school, Teddy. I love looking at strikeout to walk ratios, because to me, that's the best indicator that you've got command of all of your pitchers. If you're not walking batters and you're getting strikeouts, it doesn't get any better than that. I don't care what, the super, advanced metric numbers are. That's old school. You're still getting it done, and that's a confident pitcher, and that's what I like to see.
Marco, you are rolling right now across the board. Let's talk about that. Since July 28th, 48 wins, 24 losses. But really, man, all of 2021 has just been outstanding. Congratulations. I hope you keep it up, especially going into the NFL football season. Listen, before we get into Iowa versus Iowa State, my question to you, any survivor pick jump out at you? This is a totally selfish question. I'm literally asking for me.
Obviously people, I don't play many survivor contests, but we're actually going to do a segment this year on Bet On It where we talk about survivor. So tune in on Wednesday's show for that, Prez. Thanks for setting me a T-ball up. We didn't even talk about that, but you've got to use strategy. And, one of our guys at the site is one of the best, Las Vegas Chris, as far as contests go in strategy. You have to find those teams somewhere along the line that, you don't want to be stuck with late. And one of the initial ones for me would be the Carolina Panthers against the Jets. There's not going to be many opportunities where you would want to use, Carolina. But, this one's just got, written all over it for me. a train wreck waiting to happen. You got Zach Wilson that everybody's, so happy about that preseason. You know what? That's just hogwash because preseason, you don't see true blitz packages and everything else. Let's see what he does in a regular game. And as far as Carolina goes, if you're Sam Darnold, how excited are you about facing the Jets this week for your first game with the Carolina Panthers? So you put me on the spot. I wasn't ready for that one, Prez, but that's the one that I would, if you're looking for contest strategy, Carolina definitely would be one of those teams to look at.
That's literally the team I'm looking at, brother. So I'm glad that you verified that I should not take Carolina.
That was good. I'll give you that one, Prez.
Marco D, Iowa versus Iowa State. A lot expected from these two teams this year, and Iowa State sitting at, anywhere from 3.5 to 4.5 with a total of 45 on tap. Game is Saturday. How do we bet this one?
I love week 2 of college football. I like week 2 in the NFL as well, because you get so much overreaction from everybody. They watch one game and they draw a conclusion on a team, and that is the biggest mistake that you can make, in my opinion. Don't put the rose-colored glasses on. Look at things and understand situations. For me, if you look at last week's results, they couldn't be more opposite. A lot of people and a lot of so-called experts really thought Indiana had to go into Iowa and win that game. You saw the number come down during the week, and Indiana got steamrolled. But if you dig deeper into it, that game turned on 3 turnovers. 2 of them were interceptions taken back to the house, and Indiana couldn't get anything going. And Iowa wins a game that lopsided score that really wasn't as lopsided as it might indicate. And then you look at Iowa State, and they were life and death with Northern Iowa. Well, 2 things I want to point out about that. They had their in-state rival on deck, Iowa. Iowa State's lost 5 in a row to them. No question they had to be looking ahead to some degree. Now you say, hey, it's Northern Iowa. It was a rivalry game. Yeah, it was a rivalry game for Northern Iowa, not for Iowa State. A little, big brother doesn't get excited to play little brother. It's the other way around. And that was like a Super Bowl for Northern Iowa, and they almost pulled off the upset. Was it a case of Iowa State reading their press clippings all summer long? When was the last time Iowa State was ranked this high coming into a season? A lot of people are giving them a shot to knock off Oklahoma in the Big 12. I think they got caught looking ahead, fat and sassy from reading their press clippings. And I think the game plan going in was keep it pretty simple. What do you want to show all of your good offensive plays with Northern Iowa when you got Iowa on deck? I think we're getting a benefit of the line because of the overreaction. And I'll go ahead and lay the points this week with Iowa State. And when it comes to quarterbacks in this game, there's no comparison to Brock Purdy versus the Spencer Petras for Iowa. Huge edge, Iowa State in this one, and they finally snapped that 5-game losing streak against the Hawkeyes.
So it's a 5-game losing streak against Iowa, but I went back 5 previous years. Ain't no wins there for Iowa State by more than a field goal. They won by a field goal a couple of times, but not by margin. Brock Purdy, this great quarterback you're talking about, has faced Iowa's defense twice, each of the, in 2018, 2019, right? He scored 3 and 17 points in those 2 games. Offense didn't move the ball either time. I don't know that I saw a better defense. Maybe the Clemson Georgia game. That was pretty good defense. Wisconsin, Penn State was pretty good defense. Iowa's defense, it was, Indiana had no chance in that game. Iowa's defense was all over every play. Are you worried about the fact that Purdy has no track record against this team and Iowa State has no track record of winning by margin against this team at all? And the Hawkeyes defense might be the underrated unit on the field.
Oh, there's no question that Iowa's defense looked good in that game. What we've got to wait and see, Teddy, is was it the Iowa defense that really was that good, or was it the Indiana offense wasn't? Indiana couldn't run the football a lick in that game and became a one-dimensional team. When you're a one-dimensional team, you know it's not going to work out well for you. I'll give them credit. Indiana still ran the ball, I think, 30 or 31 times in that game. They only had 77 yards. They were persistent, but they couldn't get themselves in good spots, and then you find yourself in third and longs in bad situations. I think Iowa State has a better balanced offense and will get the job done. And, yeah, Brock Purdy hasn't had a good history against them, but you would think 3 cracks, you're finally going to get better against them with the experience. And overall, I think this is a good team, and I just think the hype train for them, you got to remember, Teddy, these are still 20-year-old kids. When you're talking about you're going to, possibly knock off Oklahoma, this is the year that you win the Big 12. It's hard not to get, your head in the clouds a little bit and look past the team like Northern Iowa. We'll see. If Iowa State lays an egg this week, yeah, then this is a team that might go into free fall after that. But I'm going to ride them this week with the bounce back.
Awesome stuff. Marco D'Angelo. Guys, it's $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com. Anybody's play up now is $9. If you got a NFL plays for this weekend, for Sunday, $9 at the website right now. I've got a few up. Same with college football, baseball, U.S. Open, anything up at Wager Talk, only $9. Marco, what do you have going for your clients?
There's 2 plays up right now. The baseball play, one is an NFL 2-team teaser. You can get the baseball play today. If you like the angles I give you on the show here, the baseball play I'm using today has 2 angles. The pitcher is in a 9-0 situation over the last 3 years that he's in today. And the team, 53-16 last 5 years. This is a league-wide angle situation, and it's in play in this game today. Check it out. You'll get both of those angles with the play that you can use for future when you make that $9 investment.
I just want to make one quick.
Go ahead, Teddy.
It's a quick but important note. Marco, you talked about how Indiana 31 rushes for 77 yards against that Iowa defense. Remember, in college football, the rushing statistics include sacks, which can often be very misleading. I always adjust my rushing statistics, take out the sacks to give a true idea of what a team can actually do running the football. Indiana much better in that regard against Iowa defense. When you take the sacks out of the equation, They did run the football.
Good point.
Great point. Okay, Marco, we got to kick you out. Get the hell out of here, guys. We're going to be right back. Teddy's big game breakdown, Bryan Leonard, the daily presidential address, lots more. Stay with us. 15 seconds.
We've rolled back our football prices. WagerTalk's first full year was 2015, and we've lowered our football season packages to match what we charged that football season. Why? It's simple. We want to make our season-long packages an extraordinary value. You can buy a full college football season or full NFL season for only $5.99 each. But if you buy a college football NFL combo from the same handicapper, you pay only $8.99. Looking to mix and match handicappers? We have you covered. Just email support at WagerTalk.com for a bundle discount and to create any handicapper combo you can dream of.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. We have one big college football game on Labor Day, and that's Ole Miss at Louisville. And we're seeing money flowing right now on this ball game. The money over the course of the last half hour to hours, all coming on the dog. Ole Miss down to 9. They're 8.5 popping up from 10.5 earlier this morning. Total has been bet down as well. There were 76s out there. There were 75s out there. Now I'm seeing nothing but 74.5s on my Wager Talk live odds screen. Before I get into a full breakdown, do want to let you know about what's going on in my world. It's a good weekend. It's been a good run, 67% across all sports over the last 2 weeks or so. The baseball has been good, 58% since May. The College football's off to a great start, 75% so far this season. NFL Week 1, I'm 18-4, 82% over the last 6 years. I like NFL Week 1 a lot. You can get any of those packages right now over at WagerTalk and or sportsmemo.com. And I am in play on this game for the side. I'm going to talk about the total. And we're seeing your classic knee-jerk reaction here. What happens when the normal play caller misses the game? Oh, Lane Kiffin's not going to be able to coach, which could be a big problem. However, when you look at the history, when the play caller goes down, what happens? Sometimes team's offensive game plan looks awful, but a lot of times the team's offensive game plan looks just fine. Why? They go away from the tendencies. The film study doesn't help. And over the summer, where you're spending a ton of time in the film room, and now you don't know where the plays are going to come from. You don't know what the play caller is going to be thinking. It's not necessarily a disadvantage to Ole Miss in that regard. Of course, it's an offense that scored 39 points a game, 550 yards per game against SEC-only schedule last year. They returned the quarterback corral. The offensive line is loaded. There's no shortage of skill position talent. Satterfield on the Louisville side, 33 and 29 points per game his first 2 years on the job. 440-plus yards of offense in both those years. They, too, have a returning quarterback in Malik Cunningham. They have a loaded offensive line, 95 starts back on that OL. You know, I do think that one of these two defenses is capable of breaking serve a couple of times, hence the side play for the clients on $9 Monday. But there's going to be touchdowns in this game, potentially a bunch of them. Sharp money on the under, I'll bucket. I like Ole Miss and Louisville over the total. And again, no rush to bet this one. We're seeing the under money come in now. Let's hold off, give it a couple hours, see if we get more under money. But at 74.5, the only way I can look at is over the total. There you have it, Prez. Big game breakdown. Back to you. And before I send it back to you, please give us a like, give us a follow. We think this is the best show for sports betting on the internet. And I hope you do too. If you think that, please, doesn't take anything. Click that bell, give us a like, give us a follow, and tell your friends about WagerTalk Today.
Teddy, I think this is the best show in the world, period. And it's only getting better now that Marco is gone and Bryan Leonard is joining us.
Upgrade.
Hey,
I agree.
yeah, upgrade alert. How are you, Bri? What's going on? How is week 1 in college football?
Actually, college football has been very good, 67% to start the season. And this is my favorite week because you have overreaction week. They've done all their studying, and then they come in and see one game and they make a judgment about it. And just about every game that I looked at the lines are all going the same way as I thought they would go. So that's a good thing for myself, is I think there's a lot of value on this card.
$9 Mondays, Bri. What do you got in play for your clients?
I put up a play on the Saturday card in college football, a game I love, a 5% play. You can get it for only $9 today. At midnight tonight, it goes back to $35. And as I said, 67% to start the season. Looking forward to a terrific week. This is a really nice week. Not a lot of premier games, but games with betting value, and that's all I care about. I'm not a guy who's going to watch every game on the board. I'm not Teddy. Teddy's a big watcher. I prefer to get in on the best number and take advantage of those lines, and that's why I give out my plays to my clients as soon as I get them, and that way they can take advantage of the line.
Excellent stuff. Let's get into it, man. Well, you get one of the feature NFL matchups of the weekend, if not the feature NFL matchup. Cleveland versus Kansas City. And, well, look, I mean, obviously Kansas City's coming into this game with a sour taste in their mouth. They've been sitting on negativity for a long while. But Cleveland is no different, and I think this game is going to be fascinating. I mean, I think you could name your score in this game on the total, and ultimately the over-under is going to come down to whether Cleveland's defense is as good as I think they might be. Kansas City minus 653 is the total. I don't have a damn thought on this one. I can't wait to hear what you're going to say.
Well, I appreciate you having to give me this one because It is a tough game. It is a game we're all looking forward to. As much as I love the Browns, I'm from Cleveland. I'm a Browns realist. I thought they were going to be pretty good last year, and they were. But they were very fortunate in many aspects. The defense had a lot of injuries. I think the defense is going to be much better this year, and they put a lot of money in the defense. But the defense is really, because of last year, and they brought in all these guys in the offseason, they're a low-paying defense. They put all their money in on the offense. The offense, I believe, is number one most expensive in the league. But I like the offense. I think the defense is going to surprise some people. I like this Cleveland Browns team. Problem is, I think they'll win less games than they did last year because of the schedule. The schedule's much tougher now. I've heard anywhere from first to third based on what we were expecting out of the teams that they're playing this year. They got a tough schedule. So it's a situation for me that I think the Browns will be a better team, but they won't win as many games. Kansas City, losing the Super Bowl, didn't play well in the Super Bowl. When Cleveland played Kansas City in the playoffs, a lot of people forget the quarterback of Kansas City, the best player in the NFL, was injured. He couldn't run. And Cleveland played pretty well against him, but now he's healthy. 6 points is a little bit cheap to me. I thought the line probably should have been 7. I like to fade teams that are getting a lot of hype coming into the season. And Cleveland's probably getting more hype than just about anybody, Tampa Bay, Cleveland. So I'm looking to fade that hype a little bit. As long as I can lay less than a touchdown with the better quarterback, better coach, even though I like Stefanski, I'm going to do it with Kansas City in this game. And I think it'll be a higher scoring game. I think it'll be very similar to the game they played last year, where both teams can basically do what they want offensively. But I'll gladly take Kansas City, a team that's expected to win about 12.5 games this season.
So talk to me about this remade Browns defense, Bri. There was certainly in the offseason a lot of attention paid to that side of the football for a team that looks pretty well established on offense. And if the defense lives up to expectations, the Browns may well be competing with Kansas City for the Super Bowl. Are you a believer in that defense from the get-go, or is that something that may take some time before the Browns actually show signs of significant improvement on that side of the football?
Well, we'll find out off the early bat here against Kansas City. A lot of injuries to the defense last year. They brought in some nice free agent signings. They brought in some guys in the draft that are really going to help. And they had guys that were supposed to have been starters last year and never really played. So they're pretty loaded. I mean, I understand all the optimism from Cleveland, but they will be tested coming out of the gate here against Kansas City. So we won't have to wait. We'll be able to find out. And in a division where Baltimore's got a real tough schedule, and I don't think much of the Pittsburgh Steelers, we'll find out about Cleveland very early if they're going to be as good as what a lot of people think they are.
Yeah, I love that week 1 matchup. Bri, Georgia, they just, their offense did absolutely nothing against Clemson, but my God, that defense was just lights out. What now, Teddy?
Their offense did more than Clemson's, did they? Georgia was able to control the line of scrimmage and run the football a little bit.
Actually, their offense did exactly the same as Clemson. They both put up 3 points.
Which tells me that you didn't look at the box.
Thank you for interrupting me, Teddy.
It tells me you didn't watch the game or look at the box score. Thank you for interrupting me with that
incredible piece of insight.
Did you watch the game or look at the box score?
I watched the entire game.
And Georgia didn't run the football?
The United States controlled 75% of the possession in the soccer game last night against Canada. 75% of the possession. The game was 1-1. Both offenses did the same thing. Bri, I'm going to go back to what I was saying here. Anyway, bottom line is Georgia's playing UAB this week. The question I have is UAB going to score? And can Clemson put up 4 touchdowns? Kind of all works together. Where are we going here?
I believe you mean Georgia. They're the team playing UAB
Georgia,
here.
Yes.
And I can't believe I've got to follow some soccer talk. I'll get people back on the right track here, man. I like the UAB side here. And if you're Georgia, and they were very impressive against Clemson, that defense was so good. And I was really disappointed in Dabo Swinney. He didn't seem to make any adjustments at the half to bring his offense back into gear. But Georgia, we knew their defense was going to be terrific. They were terrific. Right now, everybody's talking Alabama and Georgia. It's over. Those are only the two teams that are going to win it all. That's all they're talking about. So you've got a Georgia team right now coming into the season. They were highly ranked, and a lot of us was a lot expected out of them. They had the number one recruiting class, so their hype is already strong. Then they completely dominated that Clemson game, even though the score didn't show it. They were the much better team, and coming into the season, they didn't plan at all for this UAB game. They've got a conference game next week. This is a definite flat spot here for Georgia. And if you're playing stocks, you don't want to buy them on the up. You want to buy them on the down. And right now, Georgia is up as high as they can be. You got a UAB team who's got a quarterback who's been there. He's can run, which always gives these teams a little bit of a trouble. And UAB is a quality football team. Take a look at what UAB's done the last 3 years: 11-3, 9-5, 6-2. This is a good football team. And of course, as I expected, money came in on UAB overnight, and we're seeing a little bit lesser line than what we had before. But from a spot standpoint and from a matchup standpoint, UAB could score 10 points in this game and easily cover this number. The total is about 44. You take a look at what Georgia's done in some of these non-conference games. They just skate through it. There's no big problem. They don't want to show South Carolina, although I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. They don't want to show them a lot in this game. They didn't have to last week against Clemson. I think UAB is a nice play here and a nice spot situation against Georgia.
So this is my biggest concern about this game, because regardless of what Prez thinks he watched, what I watched was Georgia running the football. And Georgia's top three backs, 24 carries, 120 yards. Clemson's top three backs, 9 carries for 24 yards. So Georgia's running backs outrushed them by a 5-1 margin. They were able to grind out first downs on the ground. Against UAB, if they can run the football and stop the run and make the Blazers one-dimensional, isn't it just a matter of time before they pull away, even if it is a flat spot for Georgia? Is the fundamentals just too much for the Blazers to overcome you?
That could very well be. There's always two sides to every story. And that's what Georgia's going to try to do. UAB brings back 23 starters. Their team's got a little bit of depth. I expect, and I want Georgia to run the football. I don't want any big plays coming out of Georgia's offense. I want them to run the football, take time off the clock. And that's what UAB is going to want to do. This is a UAB defense that's been very good. Granted, they don't play in the SEC. They haven't faced this Georgia team. But I like the situation, and I think we're going to get about 10. All I'm asking is 10 points out of UAB. And I think they can do that. Yeah.
I think they'll struggle to get those 10 points. Brian, we're up against the clock. Let's talk Toledo, Notre Dame. Notre Dame, nice win this past weekend. They're now minus 17.5. A total of 53.5 on board. How do we bet this game?
I'll take the dog here once again. The starter for Toledo had to retire because of a medical situation, but he's one of the coaches now. So I think that is actually a little bit of a positive for Toledo because they have that players advantage from the coaching staff. So I think that helps them a little bit. I love this Toledo team. They're the best team in the MAC this year, but it's the MAC against the Irish. And I think the Irish are a little bit overrated this year. I wasn't overly impressed with them last night. Wide open tight ends. The defense for Florida State just gave them everything they wanted from the tenant department. Getting that on film, I think, helps Toledo. But you do have a MAC defense, slightly smaller. So it wouldn't surprise me if Notre Dame put some points on this board. But Toledo's a very good team. And you're laying this amount of points, I'll take the points. It's not one of my stronger plays. It's early in the week. It's Monday. We'll see what happens. But I prefer the Toledo side in this game.
Awesome stuff. Thank you so much, Bri. You've already promoted everything. You've killed it in college football week 1. We love having you. We'll see you on Monday. Time for the Prez to get into that, not penalty box, daily presidential address. All righty. Thank you, everyone, for watching Wager Talk today. What an incredible show. Marco D'Angelo led the way. He gave out picks on the Philadelphia Phillies, Milwaukee Brewers, Iowa State, and Thursday night's NFL football. And Bryan Leonard also spoke a couple of college football games and the Kansas City Cleveland game. Make sure, if you're watching this on Twitter, to check out Wager Talk today. It's $9 Mondays, everybody. I have almost my entire NFL card up today. I got a teaser up for you guys. It's $9. I got a total up for you guys. It's $9. I am passing in baseball today, but I am making a small wager on the San Francisco Giants today. And also, we got a CFL game going to this afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern, Calgary and Edmonton. And I like under the total of 43. Keep in mind, I am 5-1 to start the Canadian football season. That's really it for me. That's it for the show. Teddy, you've got a big show coming up in about 15 minutes. I don't know what I'm eating yet. Oh, turkey sandwich. Take us home, bro.
Turkey sandwich. Okay. Good stuff, Prez. I didn't know you could eat yourself. But that's going to wrap it for the Monday edition of Wager Talk today. We'll do it again tomorrow. Same time, same channel, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. Be sure to tune in for the NFL opening line report. Myself and Drew Martin coming up at the top of the hour. But enjoy the games. Enjoy your Labor Day. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Prez, last thoughts?
Yeah. Yes. On behalf of both Teddy and I, Happy New Year to all the Jewish people out there. I will not be on the show tomorrow. Steve Merrill will be taking it for me. Teddy, I love you, bro. End this thing.
Have a great day. Have a great day.
Would you like to bet $20 and win $100 at BetMGM regardless of your wager's outcome and get $100 in free wager bucks? Just go to wt.buzz/MGM for more details and find out if you're eligible for this amazing offer.